need FMB to have something that can contribute to the rest of the team as well, and I think the Quinn doesn't quite work in that regard. But we are into the draft talk, and we have a different bird lady in the B1. It's the Xayah for Titan.
Yeah, this handshake of bot laners is absolutely no surprise. Xayah being one of the most popular champions on the current patch. It's strong into the Kai'Sa as well. That route decided to answer with. And Trajan, just the bottom line with draft today and the rest of playoffs is there are a lot of OPs that these teams are going to have to trade across the board. We already see some of them with things like the Xayah, Rakan, Kai'Sa, Poppy, Rell taken off the board, Azir taken off the board. Other big picks going to be things like that Ivern left up and available. Croc has not played it this entire split, but Aegis has. In fact, it's his second most played.
Yeah, and we do have the Rakan picked in here, pairs with the Xayah, but it has been banned every game of playoffs before today, Hawk, and the Rell has been the one that's been getting through. Now that's swapped around, Frosty's got his hands on it, Envy is back on the Nico as well for Red, so they're still looking for a top jungle in the second rotation, but Aegis, you mentioned the Ivern, this guy has a pool 10 miles deep. Banning him out is just not possible.
Yeah, it's just not really going to work. The Maokai, pretty standard ban amongst teams just to remove something strong, but I've got to be honest with you, Trajan. I think giving up Xayah Rakan here to Red in game one is a bit of a draft blunder from Loud. Right now, their composition is so short range. It's a favorable bottom lane 2v2, which is a portion of the game, as the Dust highlighted, that Titan and Frosty have been a bit exploitable. So I'm a little bit worried for Root and Seos in this 2v2, and I'm curious to see what Loud can come up with that will actually be able to team fight against this powerful duo.
Yeah, they're not going to have the Renekton for Robo. That's been banned away by Red. FMB has shown us that he can put the carry pants on, but is also perfectly willing to sit back and be an enabler, be a frontliner, be a weak sider. And he has shown a bit more success with that archetype than Robo has. So I don't think he minds giving the Croc away to keep Robo down, as Loud do seem to be focusing out those junglers. The Nocturne as another removal from Aegis here. And now for Loud, they've got this Kai'Sa, right? They're very short range, as you said. We've seen Brunsei in this matchup previously in the playoffs try to play a poke comp with the rest of Fluxu. The Jace has already been banned though. Is there a way to make that work still for Loud, or are they going to have to go team fight with this Kai'Sa?
I don't really know where they go. I'm curious to see where Robo goes. I would assume that they give him R5 counter, and I think that's going to tell us a lot about what Loud wants to do. Because you've still got things up and available like Jax, also Aatrox and Rumble that have been strangely absent from playoffs so far. Two champions between the two of them only have 3 bans and 0 picks. Would not be surprised to potentially see Robo pull out a carry like that and go a little bit more team fight, a little bit more triple threat with this Kai'Sa Syndra that we have. But I mean, for Red, as you said, Aegis has a deep champion pool. Loud's removed a lot of junglers, but his most played Wukong is still on the board, as well as that second most played in the Ivern, which is going to get slammed down. It's another solid pick that is going to make this Kai'Sa alongside, the Xayah rather, alongside this Rakan, very difficult to deal with.
It seems like Loud, they've really tried to deny Aegis the agency to call plays himself, right? To be that engaged with the Nocturne, with the Vi. He now has to take a step back with the Ivern and support his team in their success, as Cassante is the last lock-in for FNB. But now, if you're trying to force that hard engage, all that pressure kind of goes onto Frosty, onto the rookie, onto the one player who doesn't have necessarily the experience to hold up in a game this important. We'll see how he does on this Rakan, as let's find out what the Robo pick is. He's got the standard Cassante blind pick. This potential is abusable.
Aatrox, Rumble, both looking really strong. I don't like that Gnar Trajan. I'm really concerned about Loud's ability to get in on Red. Sure, their mid game is really strong. You've got that Poppy Syndra 2v2, Alistar roaming up as well. Could make things deadly in the mid side of the map, but I fear if Tinones isn't able to get going, how are you supposed to fight into a Red composition that can engage on you from or screen away? They have a more consistent front line, and they have an Ivern to support all the way across.
So, like, looking at the name tags, right? Red versus Loud. We know and we expect this to be bloody, to be chaotic, to be a street fight as we have with VKS and Fluxu from the very beginning, right? But looking at just the compositions, I don't know how anyone gets on anyone. Because Red can't get on to Loud. They've got Syndra, they've got Alistar, they've got Poppy. I don't know how Rakan gets in there. And then Red doesn't have any more hard engage tools. I don't know how Loud gets on Red because they're super short range and Red can play with a little disengage. This might be some of the most awkwardly limp-wristed Baron 5v5s we've ever seen, Hawk, before these guys get on top of each other.
It's going to be a really weird approach because it is going to be a lot of poking and prodding, right? Neither one of these teams wants to go super, super all in unless they have the perfect angle, right? Loud, they're playing a dive composition, but when you're playing dive against things like Ivern Zaya, you've got to be really careful about how you're going about it. And again, in this early and mid game, it's all on Croc and Tinones for me. They've got to generate a lead for Loud to be able to win this game. We talked about how we voted Seo's first team All-Pro support, Aegis first team All-Pro jungler, but let's not forget that Tinones was also our CBLOL English first team All-Pro mid. He has been brilliant, particularly in the back half of the split for Loud, and now on this Syndra, a favorable matchup. He's got the range advantage. I need to see what he's able to do.
Yeah, I love that point. Tinones on the Syndra. It's his most played champion an entire 3 games, Hawk, and he hasn't lost on it yet in this split. He has been stepping into those carry positions as we head on to the Rift for our last first round of playoffs match. Champion versus champion. 4 splits between them over the last couple of years. Let's find out who's going to start that run onto 5.
A beautiful skybox over Summoner's Rift as... Okay, we've already got some blood, Trajan.
Yeah, Frosty not looking cowed at all. Goes straight in onto Seos, and Titan following it up. This Alistar dropping awful low. Syndra can offer nothing to this at level 1, and it's a great flash picked up.
That is absolutely enormous. Sure, they use the heal for Frosty, but you take that every day of the week because Trajan, the one way that Kai'Sa Alistar can get an advantage against the Zyricon is they do surprisingly win level 1. And I know most people might be thinking, what? Alistar is terrible level 1. But with the flash, you can get a flash pull off and try to generate a health advantage, get a favorable trade, and get control of the wave that way. Without that tool available, Titan and Frosty should have free reign of this lane with their range advantage. And now, just going to make things even more difficult. And again, a composition I was already concerned about for Loud.
Yeah, we were thinking about how important this top lane could be depending on the attitude they come in with, right? There could have been Renekton's, Rumbles, there could have been carries coming everywhere in that lane, but it's just Cassandre Nara. We're not expecting as much out of there in the laning phase. And for me, that means we have to instead focus on the bot lane. Titan and Frosty giving up 2v2 kills so many times against the weaker teams, but one of the few duos that they can be as of late is actually Root and Seos. We're going to go to Soph-Chan right now to give us some more insight in the early game.
Well, we got a little minute here to talk to Kalek. Thank you so much for being here with us. Tell me about the reason why you guys decided to go for a compet pick for Red Canids.
We basically got everything that we wanted in this draft because they decided to ban picks that are strong in the meta, but in doing so, everything that we're comfortable with, everything we're good with was left open. So we just went for that. I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think we're in pretty good position to play this game.
Yeah, sounds lovely. All right, taking back to you guys to Summoner's Rift.
Thank you very much, Soph-Chan. I don't know, Hawk, I agree. I think Red did get absolutely everything they wanted in this game 1 draft.
I gotta be honest, I agree as well, because again, I'm just not sure how Loud gets in, but there is a level 2 power spike.
Maybe this is how they do it, the level 2 hit, but Titan can fire back. They need to avoid those feathers. Seos will step around them. It's a big trade back for Loud.
So something that is really interesting, Trajan, is Croc actually pathing down towards the bottom side. Not surprising given the matchup. Nara versus Cassandre, not really the most explosive top lane showdown that we might have expected between Robo and FNB, but Croc so accustomed to on that first clear, going up towards Robo, setting up for those early sort of dives, and then being bot lane more around the 4-5 minute mark. Instead, just going straight down this direction, maybe wanting to cover for the flashless Seos, maybe wanting to try to disrupt this push that Frosty and Titan have going down. But as you can see, Aegis on this Ivern, he's the one that's first into the play and might even be able to annoy the jungler of Loud.
Knows what side his bread is buttered on here. Got the Prio in bot lane. Couldn't get there in time to disrupt the Gromp, but will instead threaten Croc on his blue buff. And we saw on that little infographic, the below a third popping up there, the fact that Smite on this patch has been changed, so it does a lot less damage to the pets from champions, Daisy being one of them. You can no longer just smite Daisy away as soon as it spawns onto the Rift. It's lost a lot of, or a little bit of durability to kind of compensate from that, but you can't just insta-remove it from the jungler side.
Yeah, Daisy is generally a lot weaker on this patch. However, that is definitely a good thing to note. Croc not going to have that ability to just instantly remove it. But, I mean, as we are just seeing a pretty slow early game, Trajan, junglers just taking resets, no sort of action. I want to take a step back and talk about these two teams a little bit more, because something we talked about in the green room yesterday on our show was we were having a debate between who was the anime protagonist of the CBLOL playoffs, and everyone couldn't really come to a consensus on who the protagonist was, but we could come to a consensus on who the antagonist is. It is absolutely loud for the entirety of CBLOL. They are the Shira Torizawa. They've won 2 straight. They're the ones looking to three-peat for the first time in the history of this league. They've constantly raised the bar of the play expected here in Brazil. And Red, they would love to have the honor to knock them into the lower bracket. Every team in the CBLOL wants to be the ones to take them down.
Bro, the Shira Torizawa call totally fits. They've even got the organized fans who like out-chant everyone else at events, so they're just like regiments of organized legions of fans at the events. That fits like a glove, man. As we see Croc heading onto this top side potentially. He's avoided vision for now, but Envy spots him out with the clone, and Red don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, Croc's not afraid, though, because he knows that he can kill Envy if things get spicy, but there is a bot lane here. Croc has no idea.
Frosty and Titan on the repeat, flashing in, goes to Ricard, looking for the late dog. He puts himself in tower range. Lovely stun by Tinones. Stops Envy from following up, and Croc will dance his way to safety.
That was almost a huge mistake from Croc, but the movement there was splendid to get out of dodge. The flash and then the backstep on the grand entrance coupled with Tinone's stun. And Red get nothing for what, in my opinion, was a really nice move, Trajan. This game will continue to be even.
Yeah, lovely use of that pressure they've got in the bot lane, right? They had a little CS advantage, priority, roam up to mid lane. Why not have a shot? They get the flash off the jungler for it, and they can come back and catch that wave. Titan and Frosty still showing that they can make it work in the 2 versus 2. They are not going to be a liability here today, as it has been, as you say, quite a quiet early game. The only real advantage stretching out so far is with Tinones in that mid lane building up the CS.
Yeah, the Syndra pick is paying its dividends so far. We've not seen any of that early action. I would have liked to see Loud maybe try to blow Envy's flash in the early game. Perhaps that's what Croc was trying to do with that little hover towards mid, but maybe the flash was Frosty, could just be a target instead.
Oh, Croc is there, comes in, doesn't quite get the wall bang, and there's another dash to safety. Rakan now the one dancing away as Aegis looks for the punish, gets a flash out of the Alistar, drops a brush for safety, but they don't have any roots left. I don't think Frosty wants to play with his life here. And it is tense early on, Hawk, but no one's quite going down.
Yeah, the tension is just mounting in this early game as Root flashed forward, trying to proc the Kai'Sa passive, but Frosty had the second charge of the E, able to dash out to safety, and so Root comes up empty. It's a negative summoner spell trade for Loud. It's a negative health bar trade as well, and now an advantage starting to open up in bot. So as expected, Titan having that 2v2 advantage, but Tinone's having that mid advantage. It's really going to be about these two players as we get into these mid stages of the game. Now, Tinone's will be stronger than Titan in those middle stages, but we've seen what Titan can do when he's given resources.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Xayah, right, he does have the opportunity to get away from the burst coming out of Syndra from if they try to hard engage on him. He's got the cleanse, the flash, the feather storm. And if Titan is left alone, if he survives that burst, we've seen Xayahs do some very nasty things in late game team fights in the latter half of this split. Hawk. Titan, we know he's up to the challenge of picking it up there. They've just got to get to that stage. They've got to execute on those fights, because really, over the last little while, it feels like Loud has more strategy, more of a game plan going into these series, into these situations than Red does, but Red certainly has the power to just clutch their way out.
Definitely has been our biggest gripe against Red, is maybe how much they rely on that clutch power, but it is undeniable how consistently clutch, if that's fair to say, they've been in the most crazy situations imaginable. And, I mean, let's remember, coming into the split, and still, we considered Red to have the most stacked individual roster in the CBLOL. Their players are just fantastic on their own. And we're still waiting for, at any moment, the fact that Red could just wake up, remember that they have the 5 best players in the league, and just win the entire thing. Maybe it happens here in playoffs. Who knows? It's been a pretty good game so far, but we've got a long series left to play.
Yeah, they've been holding the jigsaw pieces all the way through this split, just trying to fit them in the right order, right? Trying to get that picture completed, and they haven't ever quite gotten there. We've had occasional games where they've had the strategy plus the outplay, and they've looked like they're showing a shadow of what they could be. It looks like they've maybe turned it around, but it never lasts. It never lasts as Titan flashes in. Wants to take this into his hands. Root, lovely dodge over the wall with the killer instinct. Not the way people would expect a Kai'Sa to escape, but it gets him out of there.
It's an ult for flash trade with the dragon fight potentially looming. Not actually horrible for Red if they can make a fight happen while Titan still has the Featherstorm advantage. They've got control over the river, just pushing in the bot wave. Gonna fog towards it now, however, Loud, I think they want to contest this. Again, Tino's pretty strong at this point, but Frosty is just running in.
Poking.
That was the quickness. What?
Yeah. Was it?
What was that?
Oh, potentially a misclick, potentially a miscommunication as to who was where. Well, let's hope that Loud didn't notice.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe they didn't. Tinones has got, as he was recalling, but cancelled it. I wondered if he might recall, TP back in, look for the fight, but ended up just grabbing the wave instead. So Red may be getting away with murder there. But let's see if Loud is aware that there's no ult on the Rakan.
That was one of the more bizarre sequences I've seen in the CBLOL Trajan, which we see a lot of bizarre sequences here, so I have no idea what the hell just happened. That was a lot of cooldowns burned by Red pretty randomly. They get the dragon anyway, so it's still an advantage given over to them. I think Loud, they just didn't want to run through Xayah Feathers into the river without any information, which is valid. So despite the ultimate disadvantage from Frosty there, they still get it. We'll see if it comes back to bite them, but should be okay.
Frosty trying to type root ult cooldown 70 seconds. He just presses R and like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Come on now. Gosh darn it. Not in game one. Let's not start it off like this. But as we say, it's all gone Red's way in the end. The Cloud Drake picked up with a mountain to follow in 4 minutes. Loud though have gotten the gold lead back to themselves just through the farming. So it is going to be still even. No one has found that one big play, and all the ults are available apart from Frosty's, but he is going to go in for that fight anyway. Loud probably going to realize now that the quickness isn't available. Otherwise, why wouldn't he be using it? Daisy comes out, and Seos has to drop the Unbreakable Will. They just get pushed back to the turret.
Loud has done a tremendous job so far of putting themselves in dangerous situations and then getting out without losing too much. Seos, again, nice movement just to dodge out on all the CC. Only the Unbreakable Will is broken. You're perfectly fine with that. And now, Croc moving down to this side. Tinones does not have first move in mid, so they're not going to be able to answer, but no dive to be had. Gonna keep things very close. And again, tense in this game. We are 12 minutes in Trajan where we expected a bloodbath. We are seeing a very slow positional game. This is a chess match between two of the CBLOL's best so far.
This bot lane is reminding me more of previous splits of these two teams fighting against each other. Titan really pushing for that lane dominance, but Root and Sales just being unshakable in the 2 versus 2, leaving Croc free to roam around the map and do things elsewhere. Now, we haven't really seen Croc get too much done so far. Aegis has been, I'd say, slightly more effective. He's got that dragon. He's been tracking the Poppy across the map, really showing why we rank him as our #1 jungler in the region still after so many splits. We'll need to see if Croc can maybe get activated later on, can find those picks, can disrupt what Red want to do with their own mobility tools.
Red just did something really intelligent, though. They swapped FNB down to the bottom side because they had teleport advantage and denied a wave from Robo. They're also going to be able to pick up a plate for their trouble, so bit of an advantage coming. Not going to be able to be answered back. Loud is swapped now, but the damage is done. That's about 200, 300 gold being lost. So nicely done.
To be honest, this sounds like some sort of a game plan right now, Hawk. This is some sort of a strategy being executed by Red, and it's quite good. I'm liking it. I quite like this strategy. They've got the Herald down here. No one else from Loud. Honestly, this is going to be first turret to them.
So, I mean, admittedly, this gold allocation kind of sucks, but they just got a full tower basically for free. And yeah, it is something. And Fed Cassante, like, while not the best, it's not bad either. You will absolutely take that. FNB now being the strongest player in the game. We talked about how both these top laners have been sort of revitalized as a fight is now happening in the top river.
The awkward flash is traded, but Croc is separated away, and there's the ults to CC him down. First blood for Titan. How's that for gold allocation? Red finally getting it done up in the top side river. After having tempo on the bot side, Aegis rotates up and makes that work too.
I can only imagine the call from Loud was to try to answer back towards the bottom side play, but they take too long. Frosty, this time able to find out Seo's fancy feet is not enough, and Croc ends up giving over first blood. It goes to Titan as well.
Yeah.
Trajan, the Xayah that is going to be so hard to kill this game, is now strong.
That's what you got to do. All the eggs in the Titan basket. Here's the replay of that top lane shenanigan.
Croc just going for the invade, thinking that he can with Aegis not around, but FNB, it's that teleport advantage, Trajan. He gets in behind. Loud realizes they can't take the fight, and once the Keeper's verdict goes wide, really well played from Frosty to be able to set this one up. And FNB, credit as well, being fast on the Herald play and understanding the job. Again, Red, they've struggled with game plans so far, but these mid-game macro moves, Trajan, have been phenomenal. This 1,000 gold advantage, fully manufactured by creative map play.
I love the attempt by Croc there to flash around the quickness. Almost got away with it, but Frosty did get the W in time to catch him out there. And as you say, the TP advantage just really locks that door. Nowhere else for him to go. And Loud correctly have to back away. So Red now, with the 1,000 gold in their lead, plus the first turret gold, plus the first dragon. 10 seconds on the next Mountain Drake. Let's see if they want to rock up for a pitch 5v5. How confident they feeling right now. Envy on the flank. Robo's about to go Mega though. And Nico doesn't feel great about this 1v1. Drops the clone. Still potentially going to get caught out. Has to hold the flash.
That's
drops
big.
it eventually. Robo once more. Gets the stun. Has the follow-up. This 1v1 is tough, but Aegis is there to cover it. How's the rest of the fight going? That 3v4 can't be in Red's favor as they've had to give up control of the river.
Envy has TP, though, to get back, so at the end of the day, it's just flash for flash traded between the Nico and the Gnar. Would have been favorable for Loud if Robo hadn't flashed in after, but Aegis, really nicely done, there to cover, does not let his mid laner go down. It's Loud with control over mid. Look, Red may have the gold advantage by 1,000, but items are basically dead even. The only thing that separates them is the completed mythic on Aegis. So, Loud, feeling like they're able to fight. My one concern, Syndra and Gnar, really strong on white item. Kaisa on only a static shiv, not the case, Trajan.
Not so good. Frosty drops the quickness, locks up Seus. They've got that combo, but the Alistair won't take too much damage. Instead, opts to go in for the knock-up. Trying to get Titan. He has to drop the Featherstorm as Croc wants to lock him down. But Envy completely cuts off Loud, and Seus falls. Now Croc's left in the lurch. Titan trying to knock him down. Envy once more with the root. Titan takes it into his own hands and flashes in for the kill. Root, Tinones, everyone's running for the hills as Red are going crazy in the river. They find 4 kills to make it 5-0.
What a huge fight for Red to pick up 4. They're gonna get the dragon as well. And Trajan, I've got to be honest with you, this is the shortcomings of Loud's composition, because what the hell were they supposed to do other than dive into their deaths against Titans, Xayah, Envy as well with a beautiful Pop Blossom, and this is putting Red firmly in control of this game with a 3,000 gold lead. I mean, you can see Loud, they're trying to get themselves some access into the river, but look at how Frosty, FNB, and Aegis just zone everyone out, using the Daisy, using their health bars, and Titan is just immortal in the back line. Once this Pop Blossom comes down, Red is completely zoned out and forced to run away, but they're not able to get out. As the skill shots are landing, the flashes forward are coming, and Red, that is a game-winning fight, you'd have to think.
I love it from Titan to flash forward. I love it from Aegis as well to flash after him to go. The boy's going off. The boy's going crazy. We've got to support him, lads. Let's put ourselves up beside Titan. And they make a massive fight work for themselves. It's a Hex Tech Rift, everybody. The 2 Dragon advantage could be massive for Red. They love to get an early soul on deck to keep pushing them through. This draft, as Kalek had said, they got everything they wanted, and it looks like it. They look like they know exactly what they're doing, exactly how to press the advantage, and Loud are just kind of reeling right now as Tinones is getting stripped out on bot lane.
It is so rare that we see Loud at a loss for a way to be able to play proactively, but this game, they have not had an answer. Red has kept the door completely shut in their faces. The proactivity has not been there. And look, if Loud is Shiratorizawa and Robo is Ushiwaka, the unconventional player that still beats everybody when it matters most, Red, they came up with the way to counter him, because Robo, he's had some good moments. He's up on FNB, but he's been completely kept out of this game. His usual X factor has not been there whatsoever, and Loud, clearly reliant on that, have been flustered trying to find what else to do.
And look, Titans, oh, hang on a second, Envy has got the route onto Robo. We saw this 1v1 earlier. It wasn't the best for Nico, but gets poked and gets away. As Titan aggressed on by Croc with a couple of members nearby. Root with the ultimate could follow in as Frosty wants to fire back, but this is a 2 versus 3. Red will disengage. As Loud threatening, but Red not cracking under the pressure.
And again, Red, they're not leaving the door open for any counterplay whatsoever, because FNB has so much prio in top. There's no claps to be had. from Loud, and they're just forced to sit back. And at this point, I'm sitting here thinking, well, your win condition maybe is Root coming online with that 3-item spike. You also have a Syndra that, after the mini rework, does scale exceptionally well. So you have scaling options on board, but again, when you look at the difference in frontline, that's really where I think these team fights are going to be decided. And while this Poppy and Gnar will be strong later on, when you're up against Ivern and Cassante, I'm not so sure that they'll be able to have the effect that they want.
That Ivern is so good at keeping those front lines topped up, and Daisy acting as a third extra frontliner as well with the disruption, just body blocking things as well. We'll see if Tinones can maybe deal with that using the Syndra W to toss Daisy out of the way, but that's an important skill. It's a chunk of true damage dropped off the combo. If it has to be used for that as FNB. Waiting for Tinones, waiting for someone to try and save this wave, trying to punish the Syndra or at least deny them some of this gold. And you can see further down the river, Red are trying to take control of this map. There goes that turret. 2-1 now in the favor of Red. Playing the map pretty well, using that lead, not giving advantages, not giving opportunities for Loud to break back.
I was going to try to trade with bot lane tier 1, but Red, again, with the Herald, they're just faster on the play. I've liked the way they've utilized this, and now they've got so much tempo they can even TP bot, and they're going to win in all 3 lanes, Trajan.
Oh, they are coming down hard on Robo, but daring to try and take a turret.
Look at Baron.
FNB going for it as Loud have tried to call this one. We know this one, the classic Robo maneuver. You've dropped into the Rob zone as the Baron is empty. But Loud won't commit to it. It's only 20 minutes. They can't do it fast enough.
Wow, and Red, they just win in every position, and now they're getting engaged.
But they thought they could just walk back to the tower. How bold, how brash from Loud, and instantly Tinones falls. Titan collects the kill. Envy with another beautiful double knocker, but Seos will not survive. Double for the Xayah, and Red walk away with 2 more.
Loud is at a complete loss for how to find purchase into this game, and Red is punishing beautifully. They beautifully flow their pressure from top to mid to bot, and now they're gonna get a Baron off of the back of that fight. It was Loud's overextension. Root, can you carry this game? You've been so consistent all split. But Red, they are gonna back away. They're not going to open the door for the Kai'Sa moment. So the game does stay competitive for the time being, Trajan.
They see the low HP Titan with no summoners, no ultimate. Root with an ult of his own. Licking his lips with that one, and Loud straight back on the Baron. We're just flip-flopping here back and forth.
This
now
is
they still don't have much damage. Red are gonna be able to get here in time, but now it's a straight 5 versus 5.
Can they burn it down in time? Aegis is here. This might fight.
They also on Titan. Remember, he still doesn't have summoners. Root is in. They're trying to find the catch onto him. He's stunned up. The Xayah desperately trying to escape. Gets a pullback. Still alive somehow. And Tinones secures the deal. Robo's over the wall. Too low to continue. Envy's still there with the Root. Red are still fighting. Still scrapping away as Root's caught. Frosty will not be denied. Both carries fall and the Baron stops again.
That fight was so close, but the critical thing was that Titan took too long to die, and now FNB's found him.
He's not even done. He's been bored all game, and now he's going crazy on the Cassante. Him and Frosty, the duo in the jungle, pick up 2 more.
Red, just when it looks like they might have made a mistake, Loud, they find and engage onto their AD carry, but Red stands tall anyway. They're going to get their 3rd dragon of the game. They're going to beat Loud even further into the dirt, and they're going to extend their gold lead to now 5K, Trajan. What an incredibly tense engagement, but they are still ahead.
The Red fans in the audience, the Wolfpack, loving what they're seeing here today. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them weren't pretty worried coming into this game, given the final game of Red's regular season. But the Baron is back on again. We're going for round 3, Hawk.
Yeah, we are, but no TPs on the Loud solo laners. They're up now. They've got the Hex Gate, so they will be here in time. Baron down to 7,500. Critical cooldowns missing on both sides. But the ultimates do favor Loud at the time being. Summoner spells Red.
Frosty on the flank. He's got the quickness. Can look to try and disrupt them. Watch for Croc. He doesn't have a flash. Doesn't have a blast cone. He has to Hex Flash over if it's going to be anything. As Daisy can hold them no longer, and Red, without that extra buffer, you can see the confidence wane, and Croc's in the pit already. Has he gone too soon? Can Loud back him up? Envy with a massive bomb blast that looks up 4 members of Loud. It's been for jungler. Red still need to win the fight off the back of this one. Robo's going mega. He's hunting for Xayah. He's in, but he's disrupted. It's a double for Titan, and the Baron picked up by Aegis. Red Canids, the clutch factor, the S triple plus clutchers show up again. The triple for Titan, another kill on the board, and I'm gonna push it down mid.
Titan's positioning in that fight was perfect, Trajan, as he burns down Red, burns down the Baron, and Red, they're burning down this game. Loud, they almost found the play once again, but they didn't have the gold, they didn't have the items, and that might just be the straw that broke the camel's back. Look at that Xayah damage, that S triple plus clutch factor, definitely here now, my friend.
Man, Shiratorizawa's crumbling in game number 1. Titan, he doesn't have orange hair, but with the mechanics, the speed this man's showing, he's got a Hinata angle in him. Look at that Pop Blossom, bro.
I mean, Envy may die for it, but it just keeps Loud's DPS out of the fight when Croc goes in, gives time for Red to burn down the Baron, and then watch this. Robo goes Mega in the middle of the fight. It looks like he can get a big ulti, but FNBC sees him as Titan, perfectly positioned, burns him down before any spells can be cast, so everyone survives. The chase down comes through, and only Root can tell the story. 0, 1, and 2 in this game. He may have 100% KP, but that's not impressive when you're getting blasted this hard. He may be consistent, but Loud as a whole has been one step behind Red Canids, maybe just looking like that team that was supposed to be first seed this playoffs.
This is a team with a game plan, Hawk. This is a team with individuals performing at the highest level. The mechanics are on deck. The draft is on deck. The strategy is on deck. They've got everything prepared for Loud today. This could have been one of the hardest fought matches of the entire playoffs, but Red are making it look easy right now. 8,000 gold ahead on Hextech Soul Point. All they've got to do now is walk that in.
Now Robo, he's going to get caught trying to pick up an objective bounty. Let's see if he can win this level down.
Double buffs on FMB. Still a big farm advantage for Robo. He's got that Mega Nart. Great 1v1 dueling, but he doesn't want to take it. Doesn't want to opt into what could be a long, drawn-out loss, potentially. Just tries to escape.
And with the rest of Red resetting as well, might have been worried that the rest of the team could clap. So he gets an objective bounty and gets out. Not terrible for Loud, but again, it's just a small reward when you're down nearly 7,000 gold. Red, they've been able to take a lot of the outer turrets. I would like to see them get this bot tier 2 to complete the 6 outside the base that is still standing gold that they have up and available. They've pushed in mid, FNB shepherding up the wave. They should be able to take this one down.
Yeah, with the Baron, 15 seconds left. They'll get it into the wave. They'll find this tower, no problem, I imagine. And Red feel like they know exactly how to play out this composition. Titan, they have been coming for him, right? They've been hunting down that Xayah. But Red has been there to disrupt the efforts of Loud, and Titan has not been misclicking, not been misplacing those opinions, those abilities. Red are looking very, very clean and collected right now. I imagine the draft will not be as easy for them in the future games. We're going to see some adjustments over the course of this series with all the tools they were given here in Game 1.
I mean, truly, I know we weren't a fan of Loud's draft, and we heard it in the sideline interview at the top of the game that Red, they felt like they got, like, everything they wanted, which... no surprise, because this is everything I would have wanted to. This composition just so incredibly tough to take down. I don't feel like you can give over Ivern and Xayah Rakan to the same team. Red, they will take that every day of the week. And Loud, it was clearly a comfort angle here in Game 1, which I always respect, but problem is their comfort just doesn't really get it done against these champions.
Yeah, and we have these kind of slight mismatches between the pools of some of these players, particularly support and jungle. We don't see much rel or much effective rel out of Red. None in the support, only one in the jungle. We didn't love it for Aegis. Whereas Loud, they don't seem to play this champion. They don't seem to play the Ivern either. There is a little bit of a mismatch, and Red have exploited that so well. Through the pick and ban, they managed to get the Rakan on deck. The Ivern still managed to slip through, and now they have a Hextech Soul to play with a 7,000 lead as well. This surely should be almost impossible for Loud to break out of. They need to find the miracle fight to get it done.
Look, if it was Red on the other side of this 7,000 gold lead, I'd be saying this game's not over. But Red, they've generally been good about closing out when they are the ones that are indeed ahead. It might not always be the cleanest. It might take a while, but they do usually get it done. It's just when they fall behind, that's when things get perhaps a little wacky. And Trajan, I do want to continue talking about this draft just a little bit, because as we look ahead to game number 2, assuming Loud does lose here today, I'm curious to see what side they pick, because when we were talking before the series started, we both agreed that red side actually seems like the favorable side to draft from here, given that with so many OPs on the current patch, you get that red 1-2, as well as counter pick for this all-important top lane matchup between Loud and Red, Robo and FMB. But the thing is, this Gnar into Cassante has been a very neutral matchup. FNB has had plenty of effect in this game, and sure, Loud was able to use that red 1-2. They take Kaisa Poppy, but you gave up R1 Xayah, a champion that is very contested between Titan and Root and has shown its worth in this game.
Yeah, you know, when the Jace is already down, so that kind of ideal poke comp combination isn't really there, you're probably going to have to fight him in normal Kaisa range, as Root has gone into the Gwynsus here. It's not going to be hitting those massive late game poke spikes that we saw out of Bronze from BKS versus Fluxu. So he's going to have to try and fight them on their own terms for Red, and they would love him to do that, especially when they're ahead. It's not going to help you break back into a game. So I think the draft, yeah, just really somewhat mismanaged from the Loud side, and maybe they want to take blue to just try and get a single pick above, because if they can't punish with a Rel pick of their own, with an Ivan pick, with a Rakan pick of their own, if not willing to do that, then maybe they don't need to go for those first two, as Red they're going to start up the Baron once again.
And Loud, you have to think this is where they draw a line in the sand. Croc and Seo setting up a contest, but Red looks to collapse.
And
Look
he's
at
deep on the
behind.
TP. He's not there just yet, but Loud maybe
Here
don't know what's
comes.
coming for. The Root's been caught. Oh my
Root's
goodness,
gone.
the combo. It's too clean. Hawk Titan finds his opposite number, and Red should be able to just pick this fight apart with Titan. He is going to fall to Tiddones with Loud's last ditch effort. But once again, Red walk away the winner.
I don't remember the part of Haikyuu where Ushiwaka got shot by a bazooka, Trajan, because Root just got annihilated in that fight. I have no idea where he just went. The one shot from Envy and Titan was disgusting, and with the second Baron, you'd have to think that Red can close out this first game.
19 kills to 3. This is probably going to put them, over the course of this buff for the next few minutes, over 10,000 gold in the lead. And surely there's just no way, not with Red playing like this, not with the confidence they have. Envy pops the stasis to avoid the Mega Knight. There's still a stun, but the Pop Blossom's back. Another traded stopwatch, but Robo, surely you knew this was not going to change the outcome.
That feels so bad. Robo just going for like a little morale victory before going into game 2, and he can't even get that. The stopwatch still up and available. Envy's ult is also on just like a 30-second cooldown. That's a tilter right there, Trajan.
Well, FNB maybe got Root in his sights here. Flash and ult available on the Kaisa. He's a tricky customer to lock down. But Cassante, pretty mobile as well. He calls it off. Not going to commit to it. Wants to go back to potentially get the wave, as Red still have to finish the job. They've got all the tools. They've shown us everything we wanted to see out of them here today. They've got to walk it in. They haven't cracked the base yet. There's still a Syndra scaling. There's still a Kaisa scaling. It's not done yet.
It's definitely not, but I mean, Red, they've got an unlosable advantage. They should be able to close this one out. And I do want to talk a bit about Tilt as well. You know, Robo not being able to pick up that kill. We talked about Red and their relative playoff inexperience, particularly for Frosty, when compared with this Loud lineup. But getting a really dominant win in game 1 can do wonders for that confidence moving forward. And meanwhile, for Loud, known as a very emotional team, losing in this fashion to start the best of 5 could be detrimental moving forward. So we'll have to keep our eyes on how their decision-making is able to stabilize itself as we go forward. Because remember, they were not able to find a single active angle in this game, Trajan.
Yeah, I mean, they're two-time champions, but it's not like they've never lost a playoff series. They have lost in the
Ooh, that's
first
a big
round
ult.
before. It's a big keeper's verdict. The 3 versus
Robo's
5
behind.
finals. Robo's in with the flank. Titan drops the ult. Does he have someone? There's no stun. He doesn't connect it onto the ruins of the turret, and Robo will pay for that with his life. Aegis gets the credit as FNB is just doing nastiness on the backline. The Syndra ult will seal the deal, but Red, they've still got the Baron, they've got the man advantage. They should be able to complete this victory. What a statement from Red. Both champions here today, and Red want to start that journey out right.
They most certainly do. Question marks abound coming into this series.